Hi, hello, it's me, Purple, the man himself! We back. Alright, let's continue.
That one of his angels are safe.
Alright, let's just go to a different story. So we're gonna be listening to stories and be playing the game. And as always, we are doing combat only, where we only use the combat fighting style. I hate creepy. Oh my god, I might as well.
Hey everyone.
Combat sucks.
Before we get into the stories, I need to give a few warnings. Story number 2 mentions sexual assault, and story number 4 does as well. But story number 4 is a lot more extreme, as it mentions rape multiple times. So if you don't want to hear stories like that, now you know. I'll have the stories labeled in the timestamp as usual. And before we get into the stories,
I was like, I don't
remember,
about
if you ever want to share your own story, you can send it at southerncannibal.com. Without
I don't
any
like
further
that.
interruptions,
So if you guys don't like that, I would
let's
just
get started.
not watch the video.
And remember to always
What might be all these ones?
stay hungry.
I'm dead, yeah. Yeah, because there's a dumb dog that no one loves.
Back when I was in 7th grade, I was actually pretty naive and immature for my age. The story is about my ex, who we'll call Candace for the sake of privacy reasons.
Candace, these nuts.
Me and her
Okay,
actually
this
met
is
through one of our friends.
I'm sorry.
We'll call our friend Maria. Maria is actually very popular with
Oh my god, I hate the Yeti bar.
So pretty much everyone knew
He
her.
literally just stun locks
One
you.
day, Maria invited me to the skating rink along with her friends, and I said yes, because why the hell not? When we got to the skating rink, Maria introduced me to Candace, and she was honestly really nice when I first talked to her. She asked me if I wanted a drink, but I said no thanks.
Yeah, no thanks,
and
Mom.
I figured she was just being nice.
Thank you, Mom. Thank you.
After a couple of hours of badass skating, I was finally done for the day. I went to go sit down by the benches, and I basically blew all of my money that my dad gave me.
Why?
Later on, Candace started talking to me again. I wasn't really interested in what she was talking about, but I just wanted to be nice, so I still had conversation with her. Later on, she had asked me for my number, and I gave it to her.
I'm sorry, but...
Now, I had only known this girl for not even 2 hours, so you can imagine the shock I had when she came up to me and said that she liked me. I was a dumbass at the time, so I asked her in what way, and she said she wanted to be my girlfriend. Again, I was really shocked,
yeah, it's easy feedback,
but at the same time, I never had a girlfriend before, so I said sure, and I said we could start dating. Well, after about 2 months in, shit was already hitting the fan. She wanted to talk all the time, and she had already started planning out our future together. She said she wanted to marry me and have my kids. So I flipped the fuck out, and I told her hell no. I'm not ready for any of those things. So I ended up breaking up with her. This bitch ended up losing her mind and going crazy, constantly stalking me, and she wouldn't leave me the fuck alone. And all of this happened because I agreed to date some random girl that I met at the skating rink.
Oh, I'm dead, yeah.
So yeah, guys, do not do what I did. If you don't know someone well enough, don't agree to date them.
That's the whole story?
When I was a freshman in high school,
man.
I was in a very toxic relationship.
Like every single
the girl that I was
day
dating would threaten to kill herself or harm herself if I ever brought up any of the problems I had in the relationship. And she sexually assaulted me as well. When I finally got the courage to break up with her, she went ballistic. She had made up a bunch of lies to try and guilt trip me into getting back together with her. And she even got her friends to harass me.
Call the cops.
Some of the harassment was tame, but others weren't. And to give more context, she lives about 2 blocks away from me. On multiple occasions, she would walk by my house with her friends and throw rocks at it. She even dented my car once with them. I know this because we have security cameras.
Call the cops.
At lunch, she would constantly come up to me and call me all kinds of different names, and I would literally just sit there and take it. One of the worst cases of the harassment was when she hacked into my school account a day before my birthday, and she had actually emailed my math teacher, "Fuck you." And unfortunately, it wasn't able to be traced back, so I had to take the backlash from it. But after that, I changed my password, and we had to do mediation with counselors multiple times. Finally, everything came to a close at the very end of the school year.
That's good.
I got called into the principal's office during the computer coding class, and I went in there thinking that I was on attendance probation or something. But they then showed me the second email that was sent from my account the day before. This girl had spent months trying to figure out my password to send another email. This time, the email sent then read, "I hope you fucking die, you annoying whore," and it was sent to my English teacher. This time, however, the email was actually able to be traced back to her, and she ended up getting suspended for a week.
Oh,
After
really?
this incident, I was
Nah,
literally scared for about
man.
a year, and I thought that she would break into my house and kill my whole family. She really was that psychotic. Every time I see her in the hallway, I feel like I'm going to have a panic attack. I really hope none of you end up with a crazy ex like mine. It really sucks.
This sucks. I know it does.
This was my worst first date. My name is Anna, and I was 26 years old when this happened. I had been talking to a guy named Stefan that I met on an online dating
Whoa, what
site.
kind of name is Stefan?
Everything was really going great. He was charming, funny, and he really seemed to be a great guy. We talked over the phone for about 2
Stefan.
weeks, then decided to meet. I put my guard
Wait,
down,
what?
and I invited him over to my place.
Why?
I know, stupid idea,
Yeah.
but I was already head over heels for this guy. The day finally came, and I was so happy when he arrived. We went out shopping together, and we bought things we needed. We came back to my place and started making dinner. So far, everything was perfect. He was even really amazing in the
two-popper.
kitchen, and he helped make the food. After dinner, we had sat down on the couch relaxing. This is where everything went downhill.
Okay.
He started shaking, and
You
I asked
good?
if he was okay. He said that he had a confession. He said that he was a veteran, and he had been to Afghanistan, and that
Okay.
he saw things he was really traumatized by.
Oh, okay. It's fine.
He then
It's fine.
started to go into great detail to explain what he saw. I'm not going to repeat the absolute horror that he told me, because I was actually traumatized myself for about a year from this. But he told me a lot of war stories, things that he told me he would go to jail for telling me. I was in shock,
Look at that.
but it only got worse. He started to act really strange, and I asked if I could do anything for him. This is when he told me that everything right now in the present moment felt like a cartoon for him. Every object
Why?
he thought he could just make it disappear, and that he
Why?
could draw new things and it would come to life.
Why?
Then he started to remove all his clothes.
Alright, so
because
this is
he said
actually
it burned on
silly.
his skin.
It was like.
I was totally freaking out at this point, and I was getting terrified. I knew then that he had a psychosis, and it was time to act. So I called his mom, and she told me that he was dangerous, and that I needed to call the psych ward. So that's what I did. They told me that I needed to call another ward from his own town, so I did that. Meanwhile, this dangerous man sat naked in my living room, and he
Naked?
started
What the
laughing.
hell?
He truly looked so evil. I didn't even recognize him at this point. So the psych ward that I called said that since he was in my town, they couldn't help, and that I needed to call the psych ward from my own town. So once again, that's what I did. This cycle just continued, as none of these psych wards wanted to take responsibility for this. I finally just had enough, and I called the police. Now I'm in Denmark, so instead of 911, we dialed 112. So the police came and got him, and he was finally admitted to the psych ward in my town.
112.
After this all happened, I was totally broken from this experience. How could things start so good and end up so
112
wrong?
was your emergency.
Over the next
Yeah, it's
week,
like, oh,
he ended up
now.
calling me from the psych ward, telling
Yo.
me that he ended up attacking a female staff member
Oh, yeah,
because he
but-
thought that she was a villain in his cartoon.
Why'd you tell
He
me? Why are
punched
you
her in
telling
the
me
throat and
this?
stomach, and he tried to strangle her as well. But she was eventually saved by the other staff. He told me that it was a really good thing that he saw me as a hero in his cartoon, because if he had seen me as a bad guy, he would have attacked me in the same way, and nobody could have saved me.
What the?
This was the last time I ever had any contact with him.
I hate this.
I'm now 28 years old, and I'm still very traumatized by this.
Yeah, you should be.
I know that this is going to be relatively lame compared to the other scary stories that you usually get, but here goes. I'm not using anyone's name to protect their identity and my own. What's scary about my story is that tons of people go through this every day.
What is it?
It's not a rare occurrence. Rather than a
Good.
one-time scary experience, I lived through hell for a few years.
Oh, that's
You
good.
really think you know someone, and then they turn into something else.
You son of a...
I did try and leave and get help, but no one believed me for
But
like
no
2 or
one
3
loves
years
you, dude.
due to the fact
Go
that
get
I'm
a life.
bipolar. I got pregnant
Literally,
right
go
out
get
of
a
high
life,
school,
kid.
and my family
No
was
one will
very
ever love you.
religious. So to appease them,
No one will
I decided
ever
that I would
love
marry
you,
the father
man.
slash my boyfriend, which they didn't even ask. I just
Yeah, he's so
blurted it out
annoying. He's-
right after the part about my pregnancy. After all,
I swear
were
I'm
happy
going...
together
I'm
until we were married, and I was in my second trimester, that is.
Yeah, my man.
At the time, we were living
Where's
in
my
my
phone
parents'
at?
house, as he had
Oh,
a
well.
job, but was also still in high school. This was because he was a year
Where's my
behind
phone
due to
at? I'm getting
excessive
my main.
absences, and I had combined my
I don't
junior
care.
and senior
I'm getting my
years to
main now.
graduate a year early.
I'm getting my main.
He had
This
started
guy's
saying
annoying
really
me.
harsh things to me, and making comments suggesting that I would be a shitty mother.
Huh?
When I gave birth, I had to get stitches down there, and postpartum depression. We were on an air mattress that was so painful for me to get up from, but he would
Damn.
never help with the baby, so I had to. His excuse not to get up at night was school the next morning. So yeah, the relationship went downhill fast as he got more aggressive and really angry at me for things. He wasn't affectionate in any way other than wanting sex. He wouldn't call me anything other than my name, and he wouldn't hug, hold hands, cuddle, or anything. For me, that's one of my love languages, so I felt very unloved.
I would just try and
While I was
get
with
the
him,
boss.
I became extremely depressed and self-loathing. I was sent to psychiatric hospitals and forced to stay for at least 10 days each time because I was suicidal. He lied to doctors, saying that I would choke him and be violent. The guy was cheating on me, but had everyone convinced that I was the one sleeping around, which I'll explain shortly. He also didn't admit to cheating until way after our divorce, even though it was obvious. He would gaslight and control me. I couldn't leave the house except to see my parents or go to therapy. He refused to have anything to do with my family, who were only ever kind and loving to him. I couldn't spend money because it was his
I'm on
money.
my phone, guys.
During this marriage,
That's me
he
right
would
there.
come home from work, which closed
My-
at 9
he doesn't
p.m.
know
at
I'm
3
here.
a.m., telling me he went out
My-
with his
only
coworkers,
I know.
and that he also had to pet sit for a female coworker and go over to her place alone to return the pets. I asked to go along one time, and he very quickly and angrily said no. He also wouldn't let me keep my own pet cat at our
I
apartment,
just killed him.
yet he would keep hers there. He expected me to be the perfect housewife when I could barely take care of myself sometimes from how depressed I was. He wanted me to cook and clean, which I wouldn't have minded if I was treated right.
Oi,
He decided
boys,
to go
it's me.
vegan or something one time, so I would make him special dinners just for him, and if he didn't like it, I'd have to make 2 or 3 different dinners that night. He would make me say horrible, perverse things of all kinds.
You don't have
and
to
some
do
things
that
about me
anymore.
and my
No
own
more
female
cheating.
friends during
It's just that guy was
intercourse, which he
annoying me,
demanded
no.
daily. One time we were doing things, and he said something. I can't remember what, and I told him I was
I'm just gonna
done,
kill-
and I
I'm
didn't
not-
want to do it anymore. But he just kept going until he was done. Then he gaslighted me, saying I didn't say that. He would burst into fits of anger and berate me over the smallest things, like not cleaning a spot on the counter from something I had just baked. Sometimes in front of
By
my
the way, I got that in
friends.
one shot. Even
For
if he had
example,
full health, he would have
One
died.
time we were watching a movie and putting fresh sheets on the bed. I was goofing around and I got under the fitted sheet as he put it on, and we were both laughing at first, and then he suddenly muttered, "Stupid bitch." I was mortified. This was the first time he'd ever called me a bad name like that. This man threatened to shoot a puppy for God's sake. Physically, I only remember him intentionally hurting me once, but once they do it once, it only gets worse from there.
Whoa.
Once again, we were joking
Wake up.
around. I had flicked his nipple, so he suddenly grabbed my wrist
yo,
and then
yo,
bent
yo,
it
JK.
very far.
Yo, it's just a joke,
He also
man.
did this right in front of his friend. The same friend he invited to stay with us for 2 weeks. even when he was gone from work and I was alone with the baby and this man that I didn't even know. This friend was really sweet to me and was supportive, and also talked to me about what I was going through. One night after about a week or two, the baby was staying with her grandmother and my husband was at work. His family invited me to a family party that was down the road from me, so I walked and met him there. I wanted to just have a good time and let loose. I was probably still 18, maybe 19 at the time, so not legally of drinking age, but the family didn't care. I had never actually drank before, but everyone there apart from the kids were drinking. I was immediately offered a Jell-O shot, which I very awkwardly downed. His middle-aged uncle hit on me a few times, which was creepy, and he also had another uncle hanging around us who was probably 30. Over the next few hours, I believe I had 9-ish beers, possibly more, I can't remember. Anyway, I start to black out at this point. All I remember after is being carried to a car, my drunk ass not even knowing what the hell's going on around me, and I'm laughing. I guess I thought they were going to be gentlemen and just drive me home. The next thing I know, I'm being carried by my ex-husband's friend and 30-something uncle through an old trailer home. Then I see him on top of me, and I'm naked, and the uncle's there too, whispering something in my ear. Then I'm carried to the bathroom. Then I wake up. I'm now on a dingy bare small mattress next to the friend. My inner thighs are covered in blood. I must have been in shock, and it's taken me a long time to actually realize that this was rape. Here I was thinking he's a nice guy, and I was drunk, so I guess we got carried away, huh? I was the one who took the responsibility at the time.
Oh, this guy does not want to smoke.
I was also panicking because it was the next day, so I knew I'd be in trouble, and I had no clue where I was. The trailer was filthy, and there were more people there, even though I got dressed and left the room. Nobody there acted like anything was wrong, so I went with it.
I have to switch levels.
They took me to, of all things, his grandma's house for a bit. She wasn't there, but I had used the bathroom to clean up. I was still bleeding pretty heavily. I also reeked of marijuana because they kept smoking. My husband kept calling, but I was too afraid to answer. So he then texted me after a while, saying that my baby needed to go to the hospital. I was panicked, worried sick about my child. So I then had the guys drive me somewhere else where my husband came and then picked me up. I was humiliated and ashamed. We actually did go to the ER. I probably smelled like a lot of things. I really wish that I realized I was assaulted and got a rape kit done there. But of course, I didn't think that way back then.
We're switching solos because
while we waited in a room with our baby, he had asked me, "Did you fuck him?" And I just said yes. He told everyone. Everyone thought that I was a dirty cheater. I hadn't even had the chance to realize what had really happened to me yet, but my reputation was trashed. Naturally, this was leverage for him to use against me. He got worse. I was locked up. I was hospitalized in psychiatric centers a lot. The guilt and shame I felt were unbearable. He insisted that I go to SA, which is Sex Addicts Anonymous.
Why?
Which was really uncomfortable because after being assaulted, I was sitting in a room just full of men. I never even wanted sex. He was the one that demanded it and wanted gross things and used porn daily. All I ever wanted was just to be held and told that I mattered. He threatened to prove that I was an unfit mother and take my child away if I ever tried to leave. He also threatened suicide once when I was staying with a friend to get me to come back. He cried on the phone and everything, but once I was in his truck, he was fine. I was trapped, unloved. I was desperate to get away. I stayed with my best friend in their apartment. This became a whole different toxic relationship itself, but that's a different story. I was drinking a lot at the time to try and cope with my problems. I would drink until I blacked out every time. She would also like to invite random men over. One day when I was there, she was gone and was on the couch, barely awake and still drunk from the night before. Now, like a week before this,
Huh?
she had hit up some middle-aged
That
man
doesn't
to
make
flirt,
sense,
and he
guys.
offered to hook us up with some
The
edibles
reason I'm quiet
sometime.
is just because I'm focusing.
I was very
and I'm
uncomfortable,
bored.
so I just
don't
stayed
know what to
quiet.
talk about.
But somehow he ended up
So I
getting
want
my
people on the
number.
call.
This guy was at least in his 40s.
I wanna get at least
So back to this
someone.
day, I get a text from that same guy. I don't remember the conversation other than he was coming over to drop off the stuff. When he got there, I wasn't thinking clearly about the situation, so I opened the door for him. He saw that I was alone and drunk, and he pushed his way in. He took advantage of me, and I didn't even bother fighting back. I just waited for it to be over. Later that day, I had told my friend what happened. She immediately told my husband's parents that I slept with the guy. And yeah, they really hated me for a while. I was absolutely humiliated, and I felt worthless at that point. I ended up back at the apartment with my husband.
Get the kid.
We were
move
fighting all the
states.
time, and he would
I would
scream and
move
cuss at me
away.
right in front of our now toddler.
Get the kid. And then
I'd ask him not to, and that would just make him even more mad. Because I felt like such a worthless piece of shit, I thought that if I left him, no one would want me. I guess it was all the gaslighting that was getting to me. But one night, when he came back from suddenly leaving due to another angry outburst, I was weeping. I went to him begging for a chance to change. I said that I would even try ECT, which is electroshock therapy for those who don't know. I said that I would do this if I had to, and I reached to embrace him. He just
Nice.
shoves me back, saying, "What the fuck?" I just ran to our room, crying on the bed. After about a minute or two, he came up and started screaming and cussing at me,
What did I
pointing in my
do?
face and telling me what a worthless freeloader I was.
Like what?
I looked out the doorway crying,
I can't
and
leave.
I saw my 2-year-old
I
at the top of
wanted
the
to
stairs
leave.
behind the bars watching us,
But, like,
just looking
you know,
scared and
you can't let me
confused.
leave. You don't let
Seeing
me.
my baby like that, that's what made me finally get the courage to leave. I got up, picked up my baby, went downstairs, grabbed the keys to my car, and then drove to my parents' house. I cried hysterically the whole way, completely overwhelmed and afraid of the future of the unknown. This event has traumatized my child, and they've asked me tons of questions about it over the years.
Not the time.
Since separating, he has inappropriately touched me twice, and he
Leave.
also propositioned me once to be friends with benefits.
No.
I've also
Leave
been diagnosed with PTSD since this
alone. That's what you
relationship.
have to say.
He now treats me civilly. He even jokes with me and sends me memes on occasion. We mostly get along as long as I
It's
agree to the
not.
things he wants, as I'm still afraid to upset him. He's improved as we got
Call
older,
the cops.
and I do still
now.
care about him as a person.
Oh my god, you can call
I'm
the
now in a
cops
happy
anytime,
and healthy
yes.
relationship, and I never drink.
Huh?
I'm much more emotionally
What's this
stable
goddamn
now.
lag?
There's so much more that I
lag.
could really add to this story, but it's already very long,
Okay, dude.
so I'm gonna end it here. Thank you all for
Call the
listening,
cops on him,
and be
dude.
careful out there.
He won't mess with you if you call the cops. You're stunting the cops. People are scared of the cops, you know? They say, leave me alone or I'm calling the cops on you. Like, oh, please don't do that. Don't. We don't have to do that, man. I know. It was just a joke. It was just a joke. No, don't. Because he's abusive. Manipulative. Everything. I don't know. Goals. Whatever. Ooh, I'm going to die. Oh my god, I hate doing this because the amount of deaths you get in this game. I got this voice.
This happened to me and my friends
excuse
during
me.
June of 2023. I used to live in this apartment complex that had a gym. 3 of my friends who we'll call Nathaniel, Sam, and Joe really like to go to the gym with me on weeknights. Around 9 p.m. they showed up and we made our way to the gym. Once we were there, we found the door had been locked. Needless to say, we weren't happy at all, so we went to chill in Joe's car. We were listening to music and we were super bored. That's when I got the bright idea to go to a park that was near us. We'd been there before multiple times at night, and hadn't had
Alright, we have
anything
50
even
minutes.
remotely bad happen. Plus, Nathaniel knew a kid who was always back there fucking around at night. So we figured we'd be fine. Boy, were we wrong though. Once we got there, we had entered the park inconspicuously and began walking around. Nathaniel knew the trails better than any of us and suggested that we go through the woods to the other end of the park. We agreed and started off.
Okay, probably going
Now,
to
keep in
die.
mind,
It's fine.
I'm generally a very cautious
smoke?
person. I have a good sense of hearing, night vision,
and I'm gonna
and
eat
tend
it.
to overthink things a lot. Everyone else was being kind of loud,
Reason why
especially
is
Sam,
because
who has
it's
autism.
water.
You can probably see
I
where
won't be
this is
using
going.
it, but it
As
gives
we
me
walk through
aura.
the pitch black
Not aura.
woods, I tried to tell everyone to keep a little quiet, as we didn't know who could be back
Yeah,
here.
I'll show you in a sec, but
Needless to
first we gotta
say,
kill this guy.
No one really
This
quieted
is gonna be
down,
tough.
so I kind of just gave up.
Oh, yeah.
We made
Yeah,
our
I'll show
way
you
through the
fast.
woods and then onto a trail.
They can't hit me
From
now.
there, we went further into the woods until we came to the road that we were looking for. We chilled
I'm
there for about
invincible
5
unless
minutes, then
bosses.
decided to go
Bosses are
back.
the only thing that does damage,
As we were
sadly.
heading back,
Or if they have
Nathaniel
aura,
said that he saw
as I can see,
something.
they start getting aura.
He proceeded to describe
There's
what looked to be a Bigfoot. I later found out that he was just trying to scare Sam, but at the time I didn't know. Me being a believer in Bigfoot took this somewhat seriously, and I said it's probably best to leave, as we don't want to impede on its territory. Being a little spooked, I suggested we walk behind the trail, which had trees and a hill that
Yeah,
put us a
okay.
few feet just below
Why
the
is
trail
Admiral
and about 5 feet away from it. We kept walking on when all of a sudden we saw what we thought to be a car light. We stopped dead in our tracks, thinking it was a cop and not wanting to get trespassed.
81 damage.
Then the light
Look at that
shined
lag
in our
though. Like
direction.
what? I'm gonna
I
have to
let
do
out a
something
quiet
about this.
gasp, and we went from squatting down to now laying on the ground.
My game is
The light
lagging, that's
continued to
why.
shine in our direction.
No
and scanned
coat.
the tree line.
Sadly,
Nathaniel, to me and Joe's protest, climbed up a little to see what it was. He stopped at the top of the hill
this is the most
and lifted his
laggiest
head
thing
to
I've
where he could see the trail and the field right next to it. Whoever it was
Shoot.
didn't seem to see him, until
alright.
all
Well,
of a sudden,
I'm going
Sam
to
then
use some
said
Roblox.
loudly, "Hey, we good?" I think I could have punched him right then and there, but I was
Sam.
way more concerned about everyone's safety. The light then turned back towards Nathaniel, to which he stood up and then yelled for us to go. We all took off and then ran down the hill that was next to us, down it, and continued to run further into the woods. As I said,
This one.
hey
See?
everyone,
I have a lot.
I haven't done a long video like this in quite a while.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to be gone for about a week after this, because I'm going to be visiting my family. I hope you
Yeah, I'm
enjoy
down.
this 3-hour compilation. And I promise, as soon as I get back, I'll get right back to narrating these spooky stories for you all. And until then,
Oh, I didn't.
have a great weekend.
See, that's the thing without
And
instinct.
remember,
You really,
to always
really doesn't need
stay
it.
hungry.
Is it like a V3 version of it?
I'm a female, and I was 18 years old when this happened. I had just graduated high school, and I had a summer full of trips planned with my group of friends before we would branch off to pursue our futures in the fall.
Why did you get good?
The first trip we took was in June. It was a camping trip in the middle of the woods, just outside
get
of a small
15K
town
from
in
this
my home
one?
state of
No,
Pennsylvania.
Nah.
The cabin sat
That's
far back in the
that's
woods,
actually good money.
with only a dirt trail
I think
about a
Donna
half
gotta
a
give
mile
more
long
which is
leading up to
crazy,
it.
yeah.
Along this trail were only a few
Well,
other
that's the best way
cabins
for money.
sporadically
Because I need
placed throughout the
30K.
woods.
30 mil. Actually,
So
50
we were
mil.
pretty secluded and wouldn't have to worry
Because
about
that would give me
disturbing
the richest
peace.
world.
Something I used
Which
to
is
do
in the
all the
world, I
time
know, and
before
I
this
want that.
point was go for long walks with nothing but my music and the wildlife all around me. I often did this to clear my head, sort of a recharge. I remember spotting one of the other cabins on our way to the site along the dirt trail.
No, you don't, buddy.
It was obviously a party
Leave
cabin
me alone. Leave
filled
me
with
alone.
middle-aged drunken men. I didn't
You
think
suck,
anything
no one
of it
loves
at the
you.
time. Just
Family
thought they were
left,
a normal
yeah.
group of hunters spending a
You need
weekend
50,
at their
man.
cabin.
Alright, we're back to
One
100K.
morning, just after breakfast, I decided to go for a walk before the rest of our crew was fully awake. For the duration of the walk, I had an unsettling feeling that someone was watching me.
211 ain't
When people
bad.
say you get a feeling when someone is watching you, it's no joke. The hairs on the back of my neck
So I'm gonna
practically
be
stood
doing for it
straight.
because I want to
When I passed the cabin with
next.
the men going up the trail, the feeling hit me, and it
Best
lingered
thing
like
to
a
do
sickness for
to
the
save
entire
time.
walk until I turned
Aw,
around to
don't tell me
return to
it's
our
nice.
cabin. As I walked back down the trail
Oh, I
and was
remember this
approaching the
guy.
cabin with the
Damn.
men, I had noticed someone
Yeah,
was watching me
yes.
from behind
Also,
a
I
thicket
want
of
that
bushes
cape, so,
bordering their
like-
grass lot.
Get
I
up!
couldn't make out what they were
I
doing
need
at
that
first,
cape!
but as I got closer, the person began to pace.
By the way,
occasionally
all the
peeking
time
out
I've
from
killed
behind
him
the
on the
bushes to
main
look
account,
at
I've
me.
never got the cape, but
The feeling I had been
I actually
suppressing
did
had
get
now
the cape
swelled in the
once.
pit of my stomach.
it was in a video.
It was
Block
like the
suits, but
natural
on my main
survival
account.
instinct in me was then switched on to full power.
Yeah.
Something
About
was
those
awry
old
with this
accounts,
situation.
I have the passwords
Though I was
to
panicking
mine.
on the inside,
Kaden, I don't know
I
if
tried
he
to
still
remain
has
as
it,
calm and
but
nonchalant
I know
as
I
possible,
still have mine.
hoping the stranger would go away.
The thing
As
is,
I drew
they're
closer,
dead,
I could make out the
and
figure
I
was a
just,
man,
you know,
probably in his late 20s to early 30s.
I didn't really want
He
to
had a
read you
hiking
going like
backpack
that.
on of some
That-
sort,
I just
and
want
was
that
holding
light.
something in his
And I
hands.
got-
Uncomfortable and
And
afraid,
light is OP.
I pulled out my phone
and everything else is
pretended to be
a little
busy,
pretty good.
scrolling and tapping
then,
away on my screen.
It was boring.
Maybe the man was
And
waiting for
then
one of his
I
buddies and was
realized
totally uninterested in me.
I can do a combat only.
I left my eyes off the man for a matter of seconds,
No,
and
I'm
when they
doing
had
combat
returned,
only.
my stomach
Now I
dropped,
want to
and I
die.
stopped dead in my tracks.
Because this is the most.
The man was now standing in the
boringest
dead
thing
center of the
ever.
trail.
By the way, this is
staring me
30K.
down. He was no more
if
than about 50
you
feet away
get,
from me now.
In
In a panic, I did the
times two
only
money.
thing I could do. If this man happened to have any sinister intentions,
times
and
2
I
money
couldn't
is
take
just
him,
so worth
I
it.
was
By the
going to
way,
make damn sure someone
because you're going
knew.
to need a lot of money.
I stopped in my tracks
To get
and I immediately
CAK,
sent one of my friends at the cabin a message saying
GTK,
where I
which
was
is True
and
Triple
explaining the
Katana,
situation just in case I didn't come back.
Dark Blade, I believe.
When I glanced up
Not
from my
Dark Blade,
phone,
Dark
I could now tell
Soldier.
what the man was holding in his hands.
Boing.
A tattered, discolored rag. The man now began to slowly walk towards me, his eyes not even leaving me for a moment.
I can't believe
I
I
had
can't believe
reached
I found
maximum
a
panic
smoke
mode at this
on the
point,
floor.
and I made a 180 to go back up the trail and away from the man. Moving at a quickened pace, but not enough to raise suspicion. I called my
that's what
friend
that
and
is.
I asked her to send one of the guys to come and get me. And
Yeah,
I then
this is
told
the
her
old
whole
sub, I
situation.
believe.
At
Must
this
be,
point, I was in
yo,
tears,
this
and I
guy.
couldn't hold back my fear.
Yeah, I don't even remember.
I stayed on the
that
phone with
guy.
her until one of my friends had arrived to walk back with me to the
It's
cabin.
crazy that I was level 1
When
doing
my friend
badly
arrived to walk
damage.
back
Now I'm
with me,
145.
I had explained the situation to him.
I
and
always
it was almost
when
as
I
if he
first started, I
didn't
thought
believe me.
100 was
I
the
remember being
hardest thing
embarrassed for the rest of the trip.
to get.
Nothing I could do
Even
or
in
say would
the
make them
Dark
believe
Fruits
me
Part
or
1, you can
understand the
tell
fear that
I
I had
was
felt.
unsure of it.
I had nightmares
He
for a
said,
while
Ken said,
afterwards when we had returned
He's
from
level
the
100.
trip.
I'm like, maybe it's a little
Nightmares about
too
how the
high.
situation could have played
So I
out
didn't know-
if I hadn't backed
Because it was
away.
pretty hard.
All I can say is that I was lucky. There was no telling how far things could have gone if I hadn't listened to my instincts. For all I know,
We
my
only did
nightmares may have been
82
the way the
damage, by the
situation
way.
could have panned out.
That's
if
what
I
sucks
made the
because
wrong
in
choice.
second C, everyone's
I
doing
will
a
never
thousand.
know what that man was
They
planning to
have
do,
to-
or what
they're
the
like
rag that he
1,000 health,
clutched in
that's
so
the thing.
tightly in his hands was for. One thing I want to say
Is it
is that I
possible
never
to
let my
even do
guard
this,
down
by the way?
again when walking alone.
Combat only. I mean, my dad wants me to go
This
bed,
happened back
but,
when I was 14 years
God.
old in 2019.
Who cares? I hate school.
Me and my
so
dad were taking
doesn't
a
it
road
suck?
trip down to Southern California
supposed to be
for a
asleep
summer
by
camp
now.
I was enrolled in.
But here I am.
We drove about 8 hours before deciding to stop and camp for the night.
Whoa.
If you've
It's
ever
like
been to
3
Central
a.m.
Valley,
to me,
California,
by the way.
you know how
I should be
desolate some parts of
asleep.
it are.
Ready for school tomorrow?
By the time we found a campsite,
But yeah,
we hadn't
I
even
don't.
seen
I take
any
gaming now. Which
civilization for about 2
sucks.
hours. My dad is a very
Because I have a
experienced
flu.
outdoorsman. Unlike me, he goes camping in dangerous and abandoned spots a lot. Because of this, he has a specialized tent that sits on the top of his car. On the night of this incident, I was planning to sleep in that tent, and my dad would sleep below me in
Oh,
another
my game.
tent. The campsite we had
God
stopped
damn
at
it.
doubled as a hot spring.
Whoa! Am I
There
still
was a specific
recording?
part of the property where no children were allowed. This was where the adults would get nude and soak in the springs. Being the curious teenager I was, I decided to ignore the no children allowed past this point signs and walked into the hot springs. To my surprise, it appeared completely empty except for one man in the very far back. The man slowly turned his head towards me.
My internet went out for some
deadly
reason.
stare. He began
Alright,
to
boys,
rise
I'm
from
gonna
the
end this
hot
video
spring,
here. I'll do part 3
never
again.
looking away from me.
My
He was a
internet
white
is.
male,
Oh, it just came
probably
back
about
actually.
60
So.
years old, and he was also extremely
But I had
large,
smokers. What's his
about
name?
6 feet tall.
I had
and
him
at
so
least
low.
400 pounds.
I would have won that.
He was fully out of the water now,
Like,
completely
that
naked.
would have been perfect.
His
if I
flabby
got
skin
that kill.
dripping into the
Yeah, we're
pavement.
good.
My fight or flight response kicked in as he began to walk
Damn
towards
it.
me. I pivoted and sprinted past the gate
guys.
and down the path back
I
to my
recommend if you're
campsite.
going to do this,
But when I
get
returned, my dad wasn't
get
there.
some
I guess
edible,
he was
get
in the
some
bathroom
Monster,
or
get some
exploring the area.
energy drinks.
In fear that the man was
Just
still
so you know,
following me, I ran
they're
up
gonna
the
be up
ladder of the
for it.
tent on top of my dad's car. I zipped up all of the windows so that nobody could see me inside. I heard somebody walk into my campsite. By the sounds of the footsteps, I knew it wasn't my dad. The only other person here was the man. The footsteps stopped right below my tent. I tensed up, trying not to breathe. Then, I heard the man begin to walk away. I just stayed in the tent until my dad returned. When he came back from the bathroom, I told him about the man. He scolded me, telling me I shouldn't have gone into that area. Later that night, I was on my phone in my tent. My dad had been asleep for a while, and I was scrolling through Instagram. My headphones were on, meaning I couldn't hear anything except for the YouTube video playing in the corner of my screen.
Bro, where's this guy go?
Suddenly,
Bro,
I
where's
received an
this-
airdrop photo
Bro,
from
where
an
does
unknown
Bro go?
contact. I looked
I'm gonna say
around,
go.
but it was way too dark to see if anybody was outside.
Leave me alone,
I cautiously
bro.
accepted the message.
Leave me alone,
and
my
the
side
photo
won't.
began to load on my phone.
You did not leave me alone.
It was a picture of me sitting in my tent, looking down at my phone. The picture was taken from right outside. In a panic, I called out for my dad. He woke up, and he then searched the campsite. Nobody was there. I don't have proof, but I know it was the man from the hot springs.
Let's go! I got his
only
code.
hope that he never did anything worse
And that was
than
my
what he
final
did to
kill.
me that night.
And his code's actually good. I'm guessing because a lot of people use it. Like,
This
what
happened
is
during
better,
the summer
this-
after
the
I finished the
code?
5th grade. I
I
went to a day camp that was pretty far away from where I lived. There were around 50 buses that would drop off and pick up
to
people from all different
Skylands. I
locations in
hate
our state.
Skylands, but
And I was on a bus that dropped me and picked me up in a main building that I had to ride a train to get to. There was another bus station that stopped near me, but I chose not to take that one because I lived in 2 different apartments. Boy, had I made a good decision.
And
without
I'm
even
going to
knowing
hate it because
and I'll get into
I
that
do
a
that
little
last time I
later.
did it, you know?
I had a decent amount of friends, and we would meet up at our designated areas
This
every
time
morning
I
before doing
only
activities with the
have
counselors together.
Combat
But twice per
and
day, we
smoke
would go
of a
swimming,
dream.
and our entire camp went.
So right now
And
they can't
that
they
is
can
when
hit
some of
me
the
because I
messed up
believe
stuff
I
then
peace on
happened.
level.
Anyway, that's all for the context. Some of the strangest people went there, but there was one dude who took things way too far. His name was Steve. He was a very scraggly looking guy with long curly hair, and he smelled like CBD and marijuana. He gave everyone the creeps. Now, things that summer started out okay, but I started seeing Steve during the times when all the groups would meet up together during the day, and he would inch towards us. Before he even approached my friends and I, we're all girls by the way, he would garner all sorts of attention for the strange stuff he would do. He had this really high-pitched and annoying voice, and we would often hear him singing really
What is
cringeworthy
it
songs, none
But
of
what
which I
does that
cared to
mean?
list because
Is
it
it
drove
just because
me
you have an
insane.
over definitely
He would be on the loose, running around the entire place while screeching at the top of his lungs, and I never knew why. We all found it crazy, but would you know it, the more distance we tried to keep, the more he would appear around us. Within a few days of the start of camp, he was already trying to talk and start up conversations that none of us felt like having. He also began to follow us down in the pool later on that same day. He wiggled under the ropes to get to our section. At first, it was hilarious because he could barely swim and was trying to run through the water towards us with this corny smile on his face. It soon became irritating though, so we swam away to a different section. He was just nuts, but it became more than what we thought. He would start coming up to us whenever we crossed paths, and every time he would bug us and just hang around, and he would try to throw himself in my friend Alexis. She was visibly uncomfortable, and he started telling her that she belonged to him forever, and that
Who
he
wants
would
to
get her
like
to love
food?
him.
I go me.
We would always tell him
Let's
to
see
get
if
away from her
someone's
and that he's being
good.
invasive as hell. Even then, he wouldn't stop hanging around her and making his creepy advances. Other people started noticing, and they all began to keep their distance from him too. We told our counselors and they just brushed it off as him being nice,
He said,
which
"Come
I
by
didn't really
me.
buy
I
at the
can't
time,
fight him."
and I'm
only
glad I
level
didn't.
100.
This was much more than just friendliness on Steve's part. It wasn't long before a rumor spread that Steve had a plan to get each and every one of us in our friend group to fall in love with him. A guy I'd been talking to named Mark had told me this. He said that he and some of his friends saw Steve crawling under the bleachers to most likely spy on us when he thought no one was looking.
Honestly, I kind of forgot that
He
was
would allegedly
accurate.
lay down and watch us eat lunch for
I
over
guess.
half an hour. This went on
You guys
for
think I could take
ages.
that, Buddha?
Mark had also seen him
Probably
wandering around
can.
the field that I would often hang out at while saying weird things to himself. Apparently, he was saying that if it didn't go well with
Probably
Alexis,
oh, that
I
guy's
would be
here.
next. This had creeped me out to no end,
Uh-uh.
but also made me question why Steve thought he could do this.
That's
Some time had
CDK and
passed,
Chuck
it
before.
finally seemed like he had gotten the damn hint.
I do not want to
I was
mess
still
with that guy.
apprehensive, even when things took a turn for the better when he stopped harassing Alexis. As he continued being his crazy self, I felt peace of mind now that he seemed to be leaving us alone. But
By the way, I forgot I had that one. I'm just gonna do non-copy. Right. Oh, that might be copyrighted actually. I swear. That might just be copyrighted. I just realized. Wow. Oh my god. No, we can go and do what to do. We can go what to do. Why should we go watch? I don't know. Don't mind me. I'm just doing stuff. My copyright. What's in my copy? Copyright. Nothing. Alright, good. No one wants me to remove any videos. If it did say, "Oh, we'll remove this video," I would. In a hobby. Copy. Right, free music. This better be copyright free. If not, I'm gonna be pissed. Blocks. It's dripping theme. Alright, let's just do that. Pull Caden and just do drip. Also, by the way, we have 40 minutes, so like it's probably not racing this way. It's just 40 minutes, like I'm recording for 43 minutes. I can like give Ace an account that is like thoughtsy at least. Hey, so you see this? I hope you have fun with the combat only max level account. No Buddha, no anything. Not for the sword, my I add. About how many PT? You're supposed to have a sword by now. I don't have one. I have a black coat and coat. A bomb boot and Yeti paw. Oh, give me more energy though. With less health, it's fine. Energy is actually pretty important. I'm guessing it helps with my melee too. This is the most painful thing I've done yet, because usually by now I would probably be 250 maybe. Actually, yeah, wait, no, wait, yeah, no, wait. So here's the plan, what we're going to be doing here. Since it takes 5 years just for me to, get up here, and it will take a lot of energy. So much time this takes. We're gonna get portal fruit to solve my issues. Nah, here's what we do. Also, this door looks like it wants to break. Come on, break. I think you have to play with Dark Blade. I think that's what on the words are, by the way. We got home point. We got ninja here. This is literal ninja right here. It looks high. Resting until 200. Can't leave. But it's gonna be a piece of cake because I don't think these guys have aura. No aura. Oh, I'm already so in level where they can't punch me. Okay. Look at this. Click one button. But my punches do actual nothing to these people, I swear. The 10k! Give me the 10k! Oh, look how close I was to the 10k damage! Yeah, I'm close. But, let's go by... Let's not buy, just look at this. I can find one. We only have one of these, by the way. We have one that we found. Don't want it to go to waste. Boom. Boom. So, here's the plan. Alright, now we're Loki OP, even though I have 300 health. But, these guys can't even punch me either way. So, like, and I just do extra damage, and that's all we need. My ad, this takes forever just to kill one guy. These guys are getting... this is getting more OP. By the way, I'm stuck on these stats, so, like, I can't really switch. This was the most stupidest idea I've had in so long. By the way, when it turns 4, I'm gonna wake Ace up, bro. I'm gonna sleep until like 5 AM, wake Ace up, try and get Ace up, bro. I'm gonna try to get Ace up, by the way, because I want someone to talk to while I'm doing this. Also, I said I would not go that way. But here I am. I just want to listen to music, but copyright. I wish I could pause the video and just say, I don't know how yet, so I'm learning. I'm still learning OBS. Not brand new, I'm still new to it. Smoke isn't the best fruit, but it's also not the worst fruit. But apparently it's good for pussy, but I can see pretty bad. Yay, first 10k damage. Let's go, boys. This just proves it. We are doing better than before. Than we used to be doing. We should just do 10 damage, I believe. Now look at this, 175. God damn, kill me. Hula would be so useful. What my biggest right here is, gather them all up, go to the stairs, and just start spamming it. Best strategy ever. Alright, let's try and kill him. Can't get him one more time. Alright, let's try and kill him with smoke so I can at least get some mastery. Not just because I want mastery on it so I can get the next. No. I just want the smoke bomber just to see what it is. Because I've actually never mastered smoke up, by the way. Oh, it's just like a little flight move. Oh, I know this move. This is why it's the best. I need to. You just go like that. So, the only reason why we did that is just so I got a flight move. I can't wait for Ace to get on. I'm going to lose my sanity. I'm gonna spam call him when it's 5 AM. Spam him. Little man wakes up, honestly. I think he lives at like, what time do people go to school nowadays, honestly? I kind of forgot. If I do that, I'll probably be sleeping till like 4 AM, honestly. It'd be funny if my bed looks so comfy, guys. Oh my god, this is getting annoying. No one cares about the music right now. It's something to keep me sane, dude. Goodness. Because ain't no shot I'm gonna keep sane by stupid that.
I'm a 25-year-old female.
Also, by the way, the reason why I did that is because how is it really useful when you have elemental?
Hipster area and is being known for higher crime, but it still has plenty of nice bars, restaurants, awesome shopping, dog parks, etc.
Also, since
living in a single unit
we didn't do damage.
The building has a secured entrance out in the front, but the back has a gate.
Oh, I was trying to go to my melee
as well with the back.
That's fine.
Shortly after moving into the apartment, my dog became very sick. Like, to the point that she started having seizures every time she ate. And I also wasn't sleeping because she would puke every 2 hours throughout the night. This went on intermittently for about 2 months, before it got to a point that I actually had to take her to a more advanced vet ER clinic, where she was then admitted overnight. Keep in mind that I had been running, carrying her in my arms in absolute hysterics to go meet my friend in broad daylight to get her there. I had arrived home alone around 7 PM. I finished up some work projects, and I'll also inform you that I was stone cold sober, as I had to keep my phone right next to me because the vet kept calling me every 30 minutes to an hour with updates. Right at about 1:15 or so, I had just gotten off the phone with the vet again, when I then heard something at the back of my door. I thought it might just be wind or something to that effect, but it sounded like someone would shake my door handle, walk away, then try it all over again. I made my 911 call at 1:29 AM. When they arrived, no one was there, and they rolled in deep with about 10 cops and flashlights. They checked all around my apartment, but they didn't find anything. I installed a Ring doorbell 2 days after, but my landlord still hasn't installed a kick plate in my back door or a lock on the back gate.
Let's go! Super Summon more boys!
So far, but gotta notice that I'll have to
I think this skill
fees
gives
on
us
my
a sniper
rent.
on.
They also told me that I could potentially move to a different building and take over a new lease over there so that they could rent this unit out. Then came back and said, never mind, I'm not allowed to do that.
Oh,
I have a
Kobe.
theory on my next door neighbor, and I'm happy to explain why I'm suspicious of it based on the
Boringest
things he's
thing
done and
I've
taken of
done.
mine when I take them out to the track.
Honestly, I think I'm gonna end
I guess
the
for
video
now,
when I
that's
hit
all
200,
got.
level 200.
I'll be sure to post
Soon
an
I
update
hit
if
200,
anything
I'm
else
going to do
happens.
some off-camera gliding because I can actually like focus up and do like actual good.
Back in May of
But
2013,
I need to get that
I
level
moved out of
200
my parents'
cross.
house and into an apartment community.
And I will keep
As I
y'all
was moving in the
updated.
very first day, I had heard some loud thumping from the apartment above me. I had hoped it was just a fluke and that the people above me just happened to be doing something loud at the time. But over the next few months, it just got worse. They would very frequently make really loud thumping noises and slam things down, sometimes even causing the room to vibrate a little. I really have no idea what they could have possibly been doing that would be so noisy. I would often hear them screaming and arguing with each other at all times during the day and night. It also wasn't uncommon for them to have a shouting match at 1 a.m. I reported them to the apartment manager, but she didn't seem to take my complaint very seriously, and then brushed me off, saying she'd look into it.
I can't get
I was
sleep.
already locked into my lease for at least a year, so she didn't have much incentive to do anything as long as nothing serious happened. She only cared about collecting rent, rather than providing a good community for the residents. I was completely ready to take matters into my own hands, and then confront them about their late night fights. But then the situation took a really dark turn. Things went from annoying to creepy when one night the couple had started threatening each other.
Alright,
I heard the guy shout out,
I'm done, boys.
"You walk out
I
that door
can't
and you'll
do
never
any
come
more
back."
combat right now.
And-
I'm gonna post these videos. I'm done, bro. I've been doing this for the past, I don't even know how long. 3 hours. And all I have gotten is not even close to full body aura. Got code that looks kind of nice. Got the smoke fruit. Level 167. 100k. We have more, but I spent it all. And flash and jump. And 500 health. I'm just tired as hell. I'm gonna post these videos. I genuinely do not wish upon this to even my greatest enemy, because how boring this challenge is, and how annoying it is. Because look how much damage I do with 400 before we end this video. 400 stat points, 116 stat points, 93 mastery. 182. So yeah, I'm gonna end this video here. I am very tired, as you can tell by my voice. I think I can do a spin now, so let me go spin. I've been recording for like 3 hours straight. Well, not the video. I recorded 2 hours last video, and then for him recording for like an hour now. I'm very tired. I'm gonna do off-camera grinding soon. Also, it's just very boring just listening to stuff, the same thing, sorry. And I'm literally getting bored of Bloxfruits now. But this is something to add to. If you're bored of Bloxfruits, max bounty, max everything on your main account, make a new account, combat only. It's the worst, but it's fun at the same time. I'll take anything besides smoke, honestly. Smoke is just so boring now. I want light because light is so amazing. The reason why light is amazing is just, I don't know why, honestly. It's all mental. The light flight is the best. Everything just the best on it. I am very tired. I want to sleep, guys. It's like 3 a.m. for me. I believe almost 4. I started this, like, I don't know, like 1. Can't remember, like 11. It's now 3. That's just saying something. I just think it's gonna cost me 49. Alright, that's the end of today's video. I hope y'all enjoyed. Yeah, I have been Popo. Like and sub, and goodbye.